Everybody. Um, we're gonna get ready to get started. Our oh, oh, so I have a few more people coming in, so I'm gonna wait just a minute.
Okay. Did you guys get a dinner hour or dinner break?
No,
Bless your heart.
not yet. No.
The weekend of the diet.
All right. Um, all right. Hello, everyone. I want to just keep things moving because we keep seeming to be running out of time. So,
That's fine.
we have Linda Greaves with us. She has dedicated her life to advocating for animals with a special passion for protecting wild horses. She is the founder and director of Saving Our Wild Horses and Wildlife Conference, and that's what she's here to talk to us about today. The summit has been virtual, and we've tried to have as much engagement as we can. But Linda is hosting an in-person event, and I think she'll talk about it, but I believe it goes into two parts. And so I will hand it over to you, Linda, and if anyone has questions, again, just put them into the chat and we will get to them after Linda's presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, Chris and Heather, and everybody. I did want to just first of all say that, I hope everybody's really enjoyed. There's been amazing speakers. A lot of these people have spoke at conferences or I've watched them on Zooms before. They're a fountain of knowledge from all walks of life. And hopefully you've met some other people and got to chat with them on the side a little bit because that's a big part of this is making community. And my advocacy started way back, but in 2015, I saw this video of a stallion, a 27-year-old stallion that was being gelded and it died in the process. And that kind of relit the fire under me. And I didn't know what I was going to do because I'm just like you guys. I don't have any special training in this or, I don't have degrees, but I had a passion. And then I figured out Standing Rock protest was in DC and I went to that and I said, maybe I can do something in DC. I'm far away from the wild horses, but maybe I could help. So I started reaching out to people and getting to know some people locally and some experts from around the country. And so that's kind of what I'm going to touch base a little bit of how it evolved, and then we're going to get into it. But first of all, I want to say, with all the activities I've done and stuff like that, I have not done them alone. There's been so many people that have helped in so many different ways, um, from helping organize the conferences to advising me, to supporting me. There's some people that have financially donated to the billboard truck and stuff. So everybody has a role to play. Everybody can just find a niche where you feel comfortable, and feel free to reach out. And you can reach out to me anytime if you have ideas. So with that, I will start. So needless to say, this is about the 2025 Save Our Wild Horses Conference, which is going to be in part in DC as a lobbying effort, hopefully as a joint one, and the other part will be out in Craig, Colorado. So, yeah. Okay, it all started back I met Linda Kemp in 2018 and we started talking about what we could do. And she was with another organization and she knew how to do some lobbying. So we started figuring out let's do a Save Our Wild Horses campaign. And we had a billboard truck made, and it was also for anti-slaughter, because those were our two callings, and I think most of us have a passion for both of those. And then we started planning the first conference, and it was going to be an outdoor conference. And this right here was it. We had 6 organizations come and we had different people talk, and it was a beautiful day. So we were able to do it outside. And also that year, the BLM advisory board was in DC. And so they had this big virtual reality thing talking about the horses are overpopulated. So I had reached out to Ginger Fedek with In Defense of Animals, and she had been working with Laura Lee with Wild Horse Education to do, you can't see it in this picture, but that's a mobile billboard that has a video playing. And then right next to it is our billboard truck again. And we did get media coverage and we did make the evening news. And then in 20 and 20, 2021, we also kept doing the mobile billboard. We did the St. Patrick's Day parade in Baltimore, which is a really big deal. And we reached other advocates and organizations. We joined events in DC standing in solidarity with other advocacy groups. And we could continue doing tabling and expanding outreach to any way we could think of. Like in the pictures, the top corner is the Anarchy protest I helped some people pull together last minute. This was a vegan festival, and down at the bottom was cards we made out and we would hand out when we were lobbying or we were just walking around the malls and doing their tabling. The other side had bullet points on issues that we could address. And then in 2022, we did the first, and this Heather was involved with this, and we invited her to join, and she was a great help. We invited everybody to come to a conference, an in-person conference, because after the first one, we decided we wanted to do something bigger, kind of like the BLM Advisory Board. So we pulled it together. We had fantastic speakers. We had a rally on the National Mall. We had lobbying on Capitol Hill. We had a staffer luncheon. And we also had an art show. So it was a matter of bringing people together. And we also had 2 Congress people speak, which was amazing. And we had a bill petition, and we invited the BLM and the Department of Interior to attend. We also invited Joe Biden. And needless to say, they said no. We had over 60,000 signatures that year. But it was a really wonderful event. And here's some pictures from the conference. The top is the art show, the rally on the mall, a clip of the petitions, and then here's Congressman Cohen. Outside, we had the billboard truck outside the hotel. And then in 2023, we basically did a redo. We just changed it up a little bit. And here's a picture of a lot of us. We were getting ready to go to lobbying that day. And we had great speakers. The rally on the mall was great. We walked all the way up to almost to the Capitol and back. And then we did a fantastic day of lobbying. And Chris about wore her shoes off running the halls of Congress. So it was a really great time, and it's great meeting all the different people and making the different relationships. And a lot of these people, even the speakers that come, they've made connections and relationships, and projects have got come to be from these connections. So it was really an amazing thing. And then in 2024, one of the things everybody said is we want to go out west, because some people couldn't come to the East Coast and other people wanted something more more involved, being out on the range and stuff. So we moved the conference out west, and we had amazing speakers. We had some new speakers this time, and it was a new location, and we had a lot of different networking opportunities. There was a pizza party and a lot of different things. And then we also got a guided tour of the Pine Nut Mountain Range by Marty Wright, and we were able to explore the landscape and see the horses, and it was just so amazing. There's some beautiful videos from some of the people that attended. And then same event. This was we made history. We were the first citizens group that were actually, it took a little bugging, like months, but we were able to get a tour of the Palomino holding facility. And as you can see, we also had the media show up. So we did get some coverage. It was really nice. It's heartbreaking, but it was nice that we were acknowledged and given this ability to get in there. And I think it was very eye-opening for a lot of the people that had never been out west or never seen wild horses at all. So we had seen the beautiful ones in the wild. Now we had seen them in holding. And then we ended up, a bunch of us did a trip to Tonopah, which is about 4 hours away. And we went out to Wild Horse Education, met us out there and showed us around. We went to several different HMAs, and we actually spent a day out on the range. And then the next morning we went out on the range at sunrise to welcome the day in. And then we went looking for burros, which we did find, and they're black burros where we were at, which is really unique. And over this time period, I'd been out to the range now some, and at one point I decided I wanted to be able to talk first person when I was lobbying. So I decided I was going to go out to a roundup, and I reached out to a Wild Horse Education They do actually take action on what's happening at the roundups, and I wanted the support of that if I was going to go do that. And it was really, really good partnership. And I've gone out every year since, at least once. And I encourage people. It's hard to watch, but then when you see it, and then you can talk about it. It's not. I saw it online, but it's more important to get out and see them in the wild. And then based on that conference, we had actually, the conference was a working conference. We were going to come up with recommendations. This is an accumulation of everything we've done through all the conferences, and we got it put together, and it took a few months to get it down to where we wanted it. And there was a lot of compromise because we wanted everybody to have some input into it. And it was a really, really impactful thing. And then finally, and since the very beginning, we were trying to get a hold of BLM. We wanted to talk to them. We wanted to present something to them. And over the last about year and a half, I had started developing a relationship with one of the aides in Tracy Stone Manning's office. And I finally we got in a meeting so we could present the recommendations to Tracy Stone Manning's advisor. And I invited Wild Horse Education, Laura Lee, to join the meeting with me, and we were able to talk to them. And he had a lot of good questions, and the one thing he did say that at this point in time, litigation is going to be the motivator for any change that's going to happen with the wild horse and burros. And we were disappointed to hear that, not too surprised though. So now we're coming up to this next conference. I had meetings with my congressman and senator in October of last year, and they both said we need to get in early. But in order for everybody to get into position, like everybody has to be hired because we have a new administration, and they have to be appointed to whatever jobs they're going to be doing. So they suggested the end of March. So I don't want to do this just as us. I would love this to be a big joint wild horse lobby week. Get whatever organizations people are a part of. We don't have to have the exact same talking points, but we need to have a show. Like the last time we were in DC, the cattle industry was in, there was cowboy hats everywhere. And we have got to step up. And it doesn't have to be in person. We're going to do a virtual element to it also. But I'm asking everybody, reach out to other people you know, or an organization you know. Let's do this together as a joint project. It's really important that they know we care about the horses, especially with the possibility of the horses and holding being destroyed with the Project 2025. So it's super, super important this time. We can put all our differences aside, but we need to stand up for the horses together and united in a way that might make a difference. And I'm not talking points on what we're going to do yet, because between now and then we may get some bills dropped. So we're going to have to see where that goes. And then after that, we're going to do May over Memorial Day weekend, because a lot of people say they have a hard time getting off work. We are going to go to Craig's, Colorado. We're going to do, it's going to be a 3-day or 4-day event, depending on what you want to do. We're going to have a day of speakers. And like I said, we've had so many good speakers here. These will probably be other people that complement what happened here, but a little bit different. We are going to get a tour of the Wild Horse Refuge by Scott Beckstead and Pat Craig, who were at the conference last year, which we're super excited about. We're going to go out and visit the Sandwash Basin HMA. And then we are going to also, for those that want to, we're going to go up and see the Salt Walls Creek horses. So there'll be a day of actual conference in a conference room. The rest of it's going to be boots on the grounds. We may have speakers that are coming with us and teaching us at the different locations. But this is an opportunity for everybody to get together, learn, get to see these majestic animals in all different ways, and make difference and get inspired. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. There's still details, and this I put out. It's just like this. There's this little. This is through Northlander complex, but this is like a road. We all are traveling down this path, and we all need to get up to the end of the road to see where we want to be. And this all should all be full of horses, but unfortunately, it's not. but all of us have the capability to make change. I'm nobody special. I just decided I was going to do one thing, and that one thing led to another. And we can all do that. Whether it's making phone calls every Monday, I recommend a lobbying phone call every Monday. And if it's not horses, something else. Just you need to start getting in touch with your congresspeople and senators. And if you're in a state where it will make a difference, just on the state level. So and so I want to again thank everybody who's helped over the last several years. And I will say that I've had some mentors and advisors, and I've called lots of people and said, "Hey, you want to get involved?" or "Hey, you want to help?" I will bug you, just so you know. Just like my daughter-in-law did this today, and my other daughter-in-law did my website. So the conference website for this year is actually my daughter-in-law did this wrong. Is saveamericaswildhorses.com. But this is actually also, this is the regular website. I'm doing a different one for the actual conference, but this is the website where you can find all the information. And that's my email address. If anybody wants to reach out to me in any way for anything, please feel free. And we do have a team already in place for this conference. If you would like to be involved in some capacity, we're going to need some drivers and stuff. Please reach out. And we don't know the exact amount yet because we have to figure out what the room's going to cost. We always just figure out what the costs are and try to get those covered. So there will be some fluctuation on that. So a lot of details are still in the works, but we wanted to get this out, and I wanted to get the opportunity to reach out to everybody during this summit. And I do want to thank Chris and Heather for the platform. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them if I can.
Thanks, Linda. People are asking about the other website.
Oh. Okay, let me pull it up real quick and make sure I don't give the wrong one because I just created it. So, but I think it's save. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm sorry. All right. And now hang on, save. SaveAmericasWildHorses.com.
Okay, so is it .com or .org? Because you have .org on here.
It's the one for the conference is .com.
But the other one is .org? You're not.
This one is .org and the other one's .com. Both of them will take you to the same site.
Okay. Jeanette wants to know, do you have the date of the Craig adventure? And are the dates final? Somebody else wants to know. Kristen wants to know.
It's going to be Memorial Day weekend. We're not sure if we're coming in Thursday or Friday. Some people are talking about maybe coming into Salt Lake City, getting a car and driving over, but we're thinking we're going to probably go Friday will be some kind of evening, get together dinner type thing. And then Saturday we'll go out to the refuge. Sunday we'll be in the conference room. Monday we'll be out to Wash Basin. And then after that, the next day we'll probably go up to Salt Wells.
Okay. Let's see. Somebody else said, Angela said, FYI, I think this conference overlaps with Western Watersheds Conference.
No, Western Watershed is the following weekend, and I purposely did that because I'm planning to go to both.
Okay.
And I checked with Eric to make sure it didn't conflict with his, and he said it was fine.
Linda wants to know if you can do a live video when you get to the holding pens.
Yeah, we did a lot of lives last time. We may or may not go to the Rock Springs holding facility. It depends on what people want to do. Last year, we ended up modifying it based on feedback of what those that wanted to go wanted to do.
Okay. Karen wants to know what litigation has been presented since the last meeting with the BLM.
What litigation? I don't know. I know Wild Horse Education has some litigation, and I believe a couple of other organizations have some litigation. I'm not familiar with it. But again, that's why if we have, well, litigation's different than bills, but so I'm not real familiar on the details. I know Wild Horse Education on their site, they have some active litigation and it looks like they're getting some traction. And they did win 2 cases last year, which was groundbreaking.
Barbara wants to know, will there be experience lobbying people who can accompany newbies who want to learn and participate?
Yes. And we will be doing some Zoom training, and what I'd always like to do is if somebody's uncomfortable with it, we can do, like, call each other and practice, and so we'll be doing some of that, and the night before, if we do an in-person lobbying event, which, that we will be doing, the night before, we'll probably get together, and I'm talking to somebody about getting a room on Capitol Hill where we can have all the documentation, and we can prep and get ready to go out from those rooms the day of the lobbying.
All right. And Krista wanted to know, I don't know if I asked, are the dates final?
They are yes.
Okay.
I mean, the
And
exact dates, whether it's Thursday, Friday, but that it's gonna be Memorial Day weekend. I did check airfare, and it wasn't any higher that weekend because that would have been something I may have pushed it changed the date for. But I do suggest if anybody's interested, book your flight early. I mean, some of the airlines, I know Southwest doesn't charge to change, and it's, like, way cheaper if you book early, and then if you have to change it, if you decide not to go, you still have a credit with the airline. But if you wait till a week before, you're gonna be paying.
Jeanette wants to know if you have the date of the Craig adventure.
That is Memorial Day weekend. The lobby day is the week of March 25th.
Okay. Um, Riley wants to know, can we attend the in-person conference in May, or is that full?
No, and nothing's full, and especially no, nothing is full at this point.
Right, and Krista wants to know, if we can't attend DC, can we donate for the billboard truck and other things?
Absolutely, but everybody can attend the lobby day. If you're not in person, we can do it virtually.
Linda wants to know, if you want to do a virtual meeting with your congressperson, how far in advance do we need to try to schedule?
Sometimes you can get in the same week, sometimes takes a little while. Every office is almost like its own little business. They have their own rules, they have their own protocols. There's similarities, but they all work independently of each other. Some are very responsive. Like I can usually get a hold of my Congress people. I know other people always go to voicemail. So if you have problems with it, reach out, go and like I said, on the website, there's a link of how to find your congressperson and also the phone number to call DC. And you can find your person and start doing that. And just, call and talk to the aide and ask them that you want to do that. And they'll probably tell you to go through the website, but then you can follow up with them again.
Krista wants to know, what is the location in May? What city should we fly into?
There's Denver's the closest international airport. And hang on, I just was looking at this. Okay. Denver International Airport's the closest big airport, but there is it's Yapa Valley Regional Airport, and I know Scott had told me there was another airport not too far away. I think it's Craig Airport, but that's gonna be a little teeny puddle jumper, I believe. And
Deborah
that's
said Steamboat,
it might be on here.
Steamboat Springs.
I just Googled it and was looking it up just for today. So, and also I was gonna say what we could do is like if I'm flying into Salt Lake City a couple days early, if 3 or 4 other people want to fly in then and ride with me, we could meet there and go out to Anarchy or Cedar Mountain and then start heading over to Colorado.
Linda wants to know, what is the biggest stumbling block that stops the legislators from signing on to protect wild horses?
They that's really complex. It depends. If it's like one of the bills or the fact that a lot of them don't know it, they really, really honestly do not know what's going on with the wild horses. And the only thing they hear, and that's over and over again when you go in, I've never seen anybody for the wild horses. This was 4 or 5 years ago. And I will say, like the events and the people involved now, when I first started, there was very few people. There's so many more people who are making a difference. Um, we really are. But it depends on, you know, once you start talking to them about it and bring them pictures and talk to them about the horses and not just the horses. These are our public lands. the horses are like the canary in the coal mine. As the horses go, so does the rest of the land. We take the horses away, the rest of the animals that live there deserve to be free and wild also. And the horses are not overpopulated. We need to be able to use science. And going back over and over again, I got where my Mark Warner's office, she even called me one time, said, I saw some legislation across our desk, and she asked me a question about it. And she said, I'd ask different questions now because you had been in here and talked to me about it. Because I didn't just believe everything they said. Because they go in there and they say the horses are starving to death, they're overpopulated, we have to remove them. And, they don't talk about the fact they've zeroed out half the HMAs. That's why they have so many horses in holding. So it's building a relationship, but and to some degrees with some of the Republicans, it's like Nevada, they make a ton of money off of grazing. They don't care about the horses. They make a ton of money off of mining. They want the horses gone. So it's uphill battle. It's a David and Goliath thing. But the option of just quitting isn't acceptable to me. I can't walk away from the horses. When and if all said and done, I can at least say I did everything in my power.
Angela wants to know how many days is the DC conference, 1 day or how many?
Um, I will be here if people, I haven't set a day for sure. I'm going to talk to my congressperson first. Mondays and Fridays usually aren't good. And there's pros and cons. Sometimes if the congress people and senators are in, you might get to talk to them. Last time we talked to Swiker. He actually came out and spent a half hour talking to us. It was really good. And he's actually a congressman from Arizona. But sometimes if they're not in, you get a lot more time with the aides. So you get a lot more time to talk to the individual people. When they're in and they're working and their bosses are in town, they're a little more, they have more demands on their time. So it'll probably be those 3 days, but if somebody I'll be around all 3 days. That's something to be firmed up once I talk to my congressperson to see when we can get a room and see what they recommend.
Okay. Um, and do you have costs for the conference and then also for the tours in Colorado and Wyoming? Are those separate fees or?
Um, what we're probably going to do, because we're just going to have 1 day in the conference center. We'll work out what that is. Last time we had some people driving, and they did this financial split thing where it wasn't part of the conference fee. It didn't work out. Some people were taken care of, some people didn't get quite taken care of. So I'm going to do it a little bit differently. But we basically just try to cover our expenses. And if we look at other conferences, I think we're very, very reasonably priced. But everything costs. So I don't think it'll be over $200 though.
Okay. Ginger said Grand Junction is a bigger city than Craig, and you can also fly in there. And Deborah said if you come to Salt Lake City, you're welcome to stop here, but Steamboat / Yampa is closer than Craig. Also Grand Junction, Sheila said.
Yeah, well, Ginger, I'll talk to you about that other location because there is something if we're having to take people out in groups of people, how far are we going to be driving to go to the refuge and then to the basin? So, but we can talk about that later. And like I said, this information will end up on the website. But like I said, I'm still trying to get things together.
Linda wants to know what should we be doing right now to help?
Calling your elected officials, talking to other people. Those
All
are
right,
the big things.
Krista said, please confirm the event website as I am not able to pull it up, www.saveamericaswildhorses.com.
Yes, I think I'll pull it up again. Oops. No, hang on. Sorry about this. Okay. Yeah. SaveAmericasWildHorses.com.
So the conference is Save America's Wild Horses. This is an in-person conference. Someone was asking. It's going to be done in two parts, one part in March, dates to be determined, and then the second part in May, um, over Memorial Day weekend in Colorado, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Um, Cambria wants to know, billboards are a great idea. Can you use more billboards?
Oh, yeah, and, we've had, like, Ginger had the one. We've had the mobile billboard out when we went, we had a during the Anarchy thing, and when Wild Beauty, Ashley Avis's movie was out, we had the billboard out. That was a video billboard. The stagnant billboard, we've had changes 3 times now. Right now it has, on one side, it has the wild horses, the other side, it's an anti-trapping campaign. Yeah, so billboards are a great thing, and I encourage people like, "Why do you have that in DC?" I said, "Because people don't know we have wild horses." And when I've been on the Hill, I've had people say, "Oh, I've seen your billboard." And I mean, and if you shop around, I've found prices fluctuate tremendously. So say, "Hey, this guy's gonna give me a better deal." And then go back and forth.
Angela wants to know, what is your opinion on Project 2025? Do we still have time to change this?
Um, s I kinda have somebody that has some influence, and before somebody was actually before the 20th of this month, they've already talked to some people. I'm hoping that the fact that this person cares a lot, it might make a difference. Um, all we can do is that, and not get ready for direct action. Are you willing to go and one of these long-term holding facilities and block the uh, semi trucks trying to take our horses away? Um, you know, I hope and pray, but like I said, I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot of faith in um, the what some of this stuff right now. But I'm hoping and praying, and the fact that it will be an absolute nightmare for them to have to say that they did that.
I'm going to intercept and disagree with you. I'm sorry,
Okay.
respectfully. Um, the reason why we're doing this summit is to create change and to let you know that your voice matters. And the biggest thing I hope that we've gotten across is that we all have elected officials, and we hire those elected officials. I don't care who they are. I don't care if we voted for them. And please don't tell me that they're Republican and they don't care, because I will prove you wrong all day long. I live in a very Republican state, and I've had to convince a lot of Republican people on a state and federal level to protect our wild horses in Theodore Roosevelt National Park. I think that this is a new administration. I understand it's scary for a lot of people, but nothing changes, right? We still have to keep getting relationships with our legislators. We have to still keep having relationships with our state people, and we still have to keep raising our voices when something happens and we don't like it. So, for example, and I'll put this in the chat, a lot of people are complaining about John Raby being appointed as the temporary director of the BLM. If you're not happy about that, I'm going to ask you right now, what are you doing about it? We created a one-click call to action where you can contact your federal legislators and say, hey, I understand this is temporary. I understand we're doing an administration change, but this man cannot be in charge of the BLM because he will not uphold what's left of the Wild Horse and Burro Act. So are you doing those things? If we're not going to do something to make change, then yeah, be afraid of Project 2025. But the time for us to speak up has never been greater, and that's the purpose of this summit. So
Well, and
um,
that's exactly why I was saying we want to do this thing, but I am afraid of Project 2025, but I'm not stopping. And that's why we need to get into lobby early, because they need to see us on the Hill and know that we care about these horses and we know that we're watching them.
I'm
So,
gonna, and I think I'm gonna share this. I'll share it on our Facebook page. I came across an article in one of our local papers here in North Dakota, and our Republican Senator Kevin Kramer was talking to the media, and they were asking him, "Are you concerned about some of the things that the Trump administration is doing, and are you concerned, that our democracy is being threatened?" And while he didn't go as far to speak against Trump, he was a little concerned about a few things, but he did say that he's not afraid of our democracy being lost because there are enough checks and balances in place to keep our democracy intact. The other thing too, I want to say, if you listen to Jen's presentation, and I'm going to have that up today on our YouTube channel. She talked about letters to the editor and op-eds, but a big thing that she talked about is our civic engagement, our civic action. So we're part of that checks and balances system, and we need to realize that. So,
Yeah.
so I hope that helps. But um, Harry wants to know, would it be helpful to do another postcard campaign prior to the conference?
I don't, at this point, the new administration's getting hiring and there's a lot of change going over. I don't know that they would get to the right people in the right time because going into on the Capitol, was at a US HSUS conference and they had a senator and she says she was going through postcards from 6 months ago. So I think this needs to be phone calls. You could call phone calls, emails, and then get some meetings and just say, hey, we just want to make sure that our horses are going to stay protected. They meant that, they mean a lot to us. They need to be hearing from us. And like I said, like last year, those cattle people were everywhere. I mean, we had some people, but we need to show up in force like that. And that's why I want to do the lobby day when we're doing it.
I'm gonna just intercept again too and just say, Heather and I last year did a huge postcard campaign. We
Yep.
thought that we would maybe get 100 people to sign up, and we ended up, if everybody sent out their postcards, we sent over 90,000 postcards to Congress. That was huge. It was
Yep.
so much work. We have talked about doing it again, but that will be it was just a lot. Um, I will tell you that if you go and look, I did put on our YouTube channel our Q&A with Ashley Avis. She has postcards, she said, on her website. I think that Heather has some on her site at saveourwildhorses.net that you can download. And one point that Ashley made in the Q&A is that the handwritten postcards going into Congress, especially from children, really
Yeah.
do make a difference. So any way that you can contact your legislators, have a relationship and do that, I would say.
Yeah, and along with the kids thing, the woman who was talking, she says, right now I'm going through postcards and we're going through the ones from the children first. So you're right. The stuff from children really does make an impact. And if you're a teacher, or involved with any type of children's organization or program, get them to, those are the ones that it makes a big difference if they, do postcards and stuff like that. And you can actually even talk to your congressman locally and say, hey, my class is going to do this project. Can we come into the local congressman or senator's office and deliver them?
Elise wants to know, do you have Governor Polis invited and Mark Beckoff?
We're working on that. I don't want to jump the gun and stuff like that. We're reaching out. Of course, we're going to invite them, and then we're going to reach out to the senators and Congress people that are in that area.
Linda
But
wants
yeah,
to know, where can we get the best videos to send in emails to legislators?
well, I don't. There, I've been told two different things. The videos, when you're there and you show them, it's a good thing. A lot of times, the aides say they will not click links because of viruses.
Okay. I have a comment on that. One
Yeah,
is when we talk to Ashley Avis, she's going to give us a 4-minute video that people can use from a roundup. And two, when I was in DC, just in, I don't even remember when I was there, Linda, October,
yeah,
November.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It was in
there were
November.
there were aides that I talked to that said getting videos in front of these congressional staffers is a big way. So how we can do that. So that's why we did ask Ashley if she had, since she has so much footage from the movie. So she's
Yeah,
going to come up with a 4-minute, she has a 4-minute video that we can use, and we will be sharing that on our websites at chwha.org and saveourwildhorses.net. But yeah,
yeah,
they said, so the staffer said that when she saw that video, that's when she started bringing things to her congressman.
yeah.
So
And if you're doing a Zoom with somebody, you can do a screen share of those videos. I always take my iPad and I have videos on my iPad. And occasionally they'll say, "Well, I don't want to see it." I said, "Well, if you guys are not going to fight it, then you need to watch it." So, yeah, so there's different ways. And like I said, different offices are different. I do have a couple of people that have been able to send links and stuff like that, but I know sometimes they're, they're worried about what's in the link, and so
Um, Jeanette wants to know, do we know who the head of the BLM is this year? They've appointed a temporary person, and I'm
yeah,
gonna put a link in the chat if you want to
yes,
take action to say, hey, we don't want him to
yeah,
be there.
that's a really good tool you guys did.
Cambria wants to know, is all the drill baby drill, meaning wild horse and burro, get out of the way? It doesn't matter to me what the public says anymore. Direct action is needed, but Trump will arrest anyone in his way, I'd say. We're still US citizens, so let's not forget that.
Yeah, everybody needs to remember that those 3 horses in that picture, those are your horses. What would you do if they were in your backyard and somebody went to take them? I mean, would you just say, "Okay, go ahead, and then now you can rip my backyard up?" These public lands are ours. These horses are ours. All those animals on this range are ours. Um, yeah, it can be overwhelming, but sometimes there's things worth fighting for.
1 second, let me see. Um, Need to keep contacting Congress, exactly. Is there a call to action Facebook group that lists the daily and weekly calls? I posted one on our CHWHA website today. Our blog today has 4 or 5 different calls to action, so you can do that. And I'm gonna put the one for John Raby in the chat now.
Yeah.
Uh,
And there's a Save Our Wild Horses Actions and Events that has calls to actions pretty regularly.
okay. Deborah West wants to know, what about forming a PAC?
Actually, it was really interesting. I was just talking to somebody about, they were talking about whether they were going to create a pact or they were going to actually just donate to elected officials. If you do a pact, you can only collect money. You're not supposed to be doing other things. So, but that is what Weichert says. He goes, the other people give us money. So that's something to consider, you know, but then we have to figure out where we send that money and to who and who would make difference. I mean, like Dina Titus is in Nevada and she is a huge horse hero and she fights a lot. So, so maybe that'd be something to talk to her about what would be the best use if we were going to do some fundraising and try to make some money. Where should it go? Other than for right now, I think really important based on our meeting with the BLM, litigation is what's going to drive change. So, and I know Western Watershed Projects got lawsuits going. Um, just about everybody's got lawsuits going right now because they realize that that is what's happening. And I know Center for Biological Diversity has some big lawsuits going too, not for the horses, but for other wildlife. So, unfortunately, right now we got to decide where we want to put our money, and maybe that's something to have a talk about. Just get a bunch of people together and talk about it.
Angela Pack, PAC. If you go on our YouTube channel, I did upload Holly Bice's presentation that she gave on Thursday. And
She did a really good one.
she talked a little bit on there about making a pack. And Deborah, Angela, anybody, Holly's information is in that presentation. So if you have questions about that, absolutely reach out to her, because she said that that was something that it's a different approach that we're not using.
Mhm.
And there are all kinds of different things with that, but like I said, Holly is wonderful. I love Holly, and she's got a wealth of information, very professional, and really knows what she's talking about. So
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
gonna hit her up about the lobby day. Yeah, yeah, she did a great job. Also, Britta's gonna be talking later tonight. She was the one telling me they were looking at how somebody was gonna put some money in, which way they were gonna go. So she knows all the details of both. So that would be a great question for her.
Deborah, those are things we've talked about, that for sure. That's something that Heather and I have been talking about and looking at. So I did put the Chasing Horses Wild Horse Advocates, so that you guys know we have hired Holly. She's working with us on the legislation that we have currently now for
Awesome.
the Theodore Roosevelt horses. And she's going to be working with us on federal protection for the Theodore Roosevelt horses. So she was with us when we had our meetings with the heads of the National Park Service in November, and also when we met with Senator Hoven's office. So yeah, Holly is phenomenal. But she's also just one person stretched really thin like the rest of us too. So, but feel free to reach out to her. It might take her a little bit to answer you, but give her some time. She's a great resource. And that's what we tried to do this weekend, is just bring some really great resources together for everybody, so that you can learn different things, be educated, and get some knowledge. And yes, Britta is coming up in about 45 minutes. So she'll be talking about different things too. So um, does anybody else have any questions? I think that we got them all.
Okay,
More than anything, just stay optimistic um on what's happening, and remember that your voice matters. So I
yeah,
think that that's the biggest thing that we've shown with the Theodore Roosevelt horses, that a group of small committed people can absolutely make a difference, but you've got to stay committed and we've got to stay loud. So thank you, Linda. I appreciate this. I wish you all the best with this. I
all
can't
right,
commit to going anywhere. I told you in March I have to worry about this legislation with the
yeah.
Roosevelt horses at the state level, and I won't know any of that until the last minute. So so thank you. And thank you guys, everybody, for joining. Linda, I don't know if you have any parting words.
Well, just that, everybody basically, like you said, stay positive, but just stay determined. I mean, you can get overwhelmed and just walk away. Don't make those calls. Reach out to other people that are in this, are in the horse space, so you have somebody to talk to. So we need to all take care of ourselves so we can continue this fight, because it is worth fighting for. And thank you,
That's,
everybody. And I hope to see everybody in some capacity at either or both of the parts of the conference.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you.